everybody, and welcome to the Fandom Flux Podcast, episode 124. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm here. Guy's here. Guy's here.
Am I? Oh, yes, I'm here.
And Kenshi's here.
Hi, I'm Kenshi618, and that thing that Casey was doing last week, playing a game for the whole podcast, I'm probably going to be doing that this week.
Fuck you, Kenshi. Yeah, Slice is busy. I'm not entirely sure doing what. I assume working. And Zero is studying for midterms. Yay, midterms.
I didn't study for anything in college. Ever.
Don't say that.
Why?
Because you've got a good job. Actually, tell you what, I didn't study for any tests in college either, well, university, and I fucking bummed around for 4 years before I got a crappy retail job, so, you know, just to balance the scales there.
I did study and I got a good job, so...
There you go. We've kind of run the gamut on this podcast. Okay. So, first topic, as always, is what the fuck have we been doing? Kenshi, what have you been doing?
Alright, so I bought UFC 2 and The Division a day apart from each other because I have no self-control. So...
I bought 4 games on the same day when I finally plugged in my PS4, so...
All of them like $60?
I think 3 of them were, yeah. I think one of them was more. I think Digimon Story is actually more expensive. And The Division, yeah. Cool beans.
So I'll start with Division. The Division is a strange beast. Like... It's not particularly difficult or anything, but that's just because I haven't gotten to the real part of it yet. I have a feeling that everything that's happening so far is just warm up for when I get to, quote-unquote, the dark zone, which is probably when the real game begins, when people can actually attack you and you can actually truly interact with people online. So I'm just waiting for that. You need to be level 30 to get there. So, yeah. Other than that, the plot's pretty interesting. For those of you that don't know, Division is basically a post-apocalyptic New York where on Black Friday, someone basically decided to have the brilliant terrorist idea to infect the money with a brand new illness, and it works. And everyone's kind of screwed. Everyone has some kind of super virus, flu, smallpox thing.
How do you infect the money? How does that work?
Well, I imagine paper is like, well, organic material, so it wouldn't be that difficult, right?
They basically just put the whatever on the money. Like, they put the virus on the money. Like they.
Well, unless people are eating money, I can't imagine that's going to be very effective.
It's highly contagious, and people got infected really easy because of all the money changing hands repeatedly on Black Friday.
Fair enough.
Whatever. That's not the important.
You don't think about washing your hands after handling money.
Well, no, but if you got a disease that viral, then there's lots of easier ways you can infect it. It's just do it anyway. If it's just
let's
yeah,
not
it's getting
pick the plot. It's a fucking Tom Clancy game. Let's give it a break.
Okay. So after that, New York is basically isolated, cut off from the rest of the world, and as you can imagine, shit goes pretty south pretty quickly. Pretty much everything fails. The police can't do anything because, hey, New York City police versus millions of people. Everyone's raping and pillaging and looting and carrying on. And that's when the situation is completely hopeless, they activate the Division, which is a sleeper cell group of soldiers or agents or whatever the hell. They basically, they haven't really explained or gone into detail of how you become an agent or anything like that. Basically, you're just a regular person until you get activated. And no one else knows that you're a Division agent. at all. So I don't understand. Hopefully they explain more on that because I really want to know about, you know, that whole process and how that works. But you're basically nameless, faceless protagonist guy. You have no, your protagonist has no voice. It's just you taking orders and doing stuff. Basically, just kicking ass, shooting looters in the face and whatnot. Um, and your main job is to figure out the source of the infection and deal with those people viciously.
Shoot them in the face.
Pretty much. I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to boil down to, which I'm fine with. Shooting people in the face is fun. That sounded like a really sociopathic thing to say, but I'm okay with it. As far as gameplay goes, it kind of reminds me of weird. It's kind of, to me, it's a cross up between The Last of Us and what's the other thing? It mostly reminds me of The Last of Us. Except you don't die as easily. Kind of. I haven't fought.
I saw it, and it kind of reminded me, watching gameplay footage, it kind of reminded me of Rainbow Six Vegas.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Yeah. I didn't own that. I just played it, so I didn't really think about it. Yeah. It reminds me of a cross-up of Last of Us and Rainbow Six. Weapons are customizable in that you can put... they're not really super unique or anything. Like, you can't, like, put Full Metal Jacket on your bullets to give more damage or anything like that. You can collect explosive rounds to use in a particular situation, or rounds that'll set people on fire. That you get 1 or 2 of those every so often to use when you need them. I'm going to wait until I need them when I'm actually fighting people. I found grenades to be highly effective so far.
They tend to be.
Yeah. The weapons aren't really... That's not the point. The weapons aren't really anything to call. They're just, you use them. There's not really anything unique or special about them. Submachine gun, pistols, assault rifles, light machine gun, and shotgun, and single shot rifles. I like single shot rifles the best. They're really good. I'm interested so far. Nothing's happened to turn me off. Nothing's happened to really suck me in either. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop and something to happen that I'm like, I have to play this game. It's much better with people. You can do it by yourself, but it's much better if you have like a crew. So I would highly recommend you make some friends if you don't have any already.
Oh.
The other thing I got was, as you can probably imagine, anyone who has half a brain and knows who I am to some degree, UFC 2. Because I am a masochist and didn't learn my lesson from the first one. Fortunately, I've seen market improvement between 1 and 2. Those that played the first one, and everyone would bitch about the way you transitioned into different things in the grappling. You would have to swivel the right way to get your fighter to move the way you wanted to. And it was clunky, and you would mess it up more often than not if you were trying to do something particularly advanced. Well, they got rid of that. What they do instead for this game is you just hold the right stick in a certain direction, and a little meter will fill. The time meter will fill, and depending on how high level your fighter is at, ground fighting or grappling or anything in particular, it'll fill faster, and he'll move to the next position. In that time frame, your opponent has to figure out which direction you're going, hold R2 or the right trigger, and flick the stick in the opposite direction so that they don't get in a worse position. And the hard part about that is they have to figure out which position is the position that you're trying to get to with no indicator other than your body movement. So you got to figure that out. I like it. I just now figured it out. You have more than one try to get it right if you're on the ground and you're defending. You have more than one try to figure out which direction they're going in. And if you don't figure it out, the game will let you know because the controller will vibrate. So, yeah, it's not completely. Just for people that don't really want to get into all the nuances of figuring out how to play the game, every facet of it, they have knockout mode. It's basically just all aspects of the grappling are eliminated. You just throw rock'em sock'em roundhouse kicks as much as you want to until one of you goes down. Stamina meter is still there, so don't be stupid about it. But you can just ignore the grappling and just stand up and strike if that's what you feel like. If your friends are too stupid to figure the game out.
Or if you're me.
Fair enough. I would give you more credit as you would try to figure it out, but fail.
Yeah.
Or at least it would take you a while. But you don't even play fighting games anyway, so I don't even think you'd have the patience. Career mode is still pretty much career mode. Make a fighter, send them into the UFC, be a champion, all that stuff. One of Casey's favorite aspects from the last game was if you get your ass kicked, the more you get your ass kicked in fights, the quicker your retirement will come about. So try not to suck and get beaten up too badly. Also, random events will happen, and by random events I mean as you're preparing for a fight, you'll do a signing and get more fans, or your boxing coach is out of town for the duration of your training camp, so you can't practice any boxing until the next fight is over with. So you can't prove your stand-up attribute. It's stuff that'll keep you from, I don't know. I think it's to keep you from min-maxing too much. Because I was doing that a lot at first. I was focusing all on the stand-up because no one took me down anyway. So I was just focusing on all my striking attributes. And the game kept doing stuff like that to me to keep me from maxing out all that stuff. So I had to work on other things. So I think that's kind of what it is too. It feels leaner. The career mode feels leaner than in other UFC games. But that's not really a problem to me, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. When I'm done talking about games, unless anyone has any questions. But
what do you mean by leaner? Do you mean there's less to it, or
feels like there's less to it? Now, the first UFC game I played was the really, really cool ones from THQ, and that career mode was pretty good. Like it was full of crap to do.
So basically, you're saying EA Sports they've just stripped out all the cool stuff, so it's just, okay, do a training thing. Okay, now you're in a fight. Okay, do another training thing. Okay, now you're in a fight. And it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did the same thing with the PGA. So, I'm familiar.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Let's see. Except in games aside, let's see what else I've been doing. Been trying to work on more stuff for fan fiction wise, and I'm trying to write a book now. Gonna give that a shot.
Okay. Well, if the Engulfing Silence can do it, I don't see why you can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you jabronis read it when I'm done. Or anything.
I think he used to go by Pokemaster 12. He wrote a shitty book, and it got published somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make that money. I need to make that money.
I think it was called American Kitsune or something.
Wow, that sounds like a horrible book, actually.
Yeah, it does. Okay, full disclosure, I haven't read it, but just based on the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else have I been doing? I haven't really been doing that much. Oh, Daylight Savings Time this week. Kind of screwed Casey and got over with that one.
Yeah, we didn't know, so I got in expecting to have another hour before we started, and I was actually 10 minutes late, so whoops.
But it's fine, because I'm the only American here this week.
Yeah, Slice is too busy playing Stardew Valley. It sounds like a joke, but it's
He is.
really not. He's played more than I have.
Really?
He's had it for 3 days less, yeah.
Oh, Slicer. Oh,
I'm
God.
actually going to check. I'm going to compare our playtimes. I've played it for 26 hours. He has played it for... Bear with me. 21 hours. So, not as much as me, but considering he bought it, like, a few days after I did, it's... Like, I took time off sometimes. You apparently didn't.
I mean, in all fairness, you were playing this game during a podcast, so can't give you too much credit there.
Still a good game, though.
And I'm pretty much done. That's what I did this week.
Okay. Guy, what have you got?
Well, I'm pretty dead right now, actually, to be honest. It's, work has been an absolute pain, even though I've been doing less of it. They've apparently decided just to pile up all the boring work and give it to me then. But, I haven't been keeping to my promise. I'm writing absolutely no fan fiction until I do some actually decent work on the original story. So yeah, that's still been going on. I've got quite a way on that one actually, and
Okay.
I'm nearly finished Dragon's Dogma. I've played 41 hours on it, which
Pretty good.
I've had it for about since last Saturday, was it? And yeah, that's nearly done. Very good game. Mostly just open world, do your own stuff a lot. Actually, the main storyline is quite short, but still good. And yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Fair play. Okay. What have I been doing this week? Well, I watched an anime that we're going to be talking about later. Like all of it. We're going to be getting back to that.
I understand completely.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. But aside from that, what I've been doing, I started watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged again because I was bored.
Good man.
Yeah, well, it's still funny. It's okay. I probably won't watch it all the way through again, at least until it's like finished or something stupid, because it's starting to wear out at this point. I've watched it like 4 times all the way through, so yeah. It can't be hilarious forever. It doesn't work like that.
It's not true.
Sadly.
It's not true. You know it's not.
Okay, it can be hilarious, but you won't laugh anymore. I'll take your silence as tentative agreement.
I don't agree with that at all, honestly.
Alright, well, I've been watching that again. I forget what else I've been doing. I mean, I played some Stardew Valley. Oh! I started The Witcher 2. Yeah. That's an odd game.
Elaborate.
You can tell it's like the intermediate entry between Witcher 3, which was like Game of the Year for so many people, and a console smash, and The Witcher 1, which was a PC exclusive for a bloody good reason. Because the controls were incredibly clunky and there were a lot of button inputs for not particularly good reason. You can tell that it's a game between those two extremes, because the interface is not amazing. It's especially kind of sluggish with a controller, which is not so great. But it's pretty fun. It's a very pretty game. I wasn't expecting it to look as good as it does. I mean, it is a few years old at this point. It still looks great though. Yeah, I played a few hours into that and did the introductory stuff. Then, See, I like to do like perfect runs of games, especially RPGs, which is kind of a stupid way to play an RPG, but I tend to do it anyway. And I get a few hours into the game, and I find out that that one guy who was being a dumbass and wanted to fight for his honor and fight to the death and stuff, yeah, I could have stopped him from dying by telling him to stop being a fucking idiot and put down his sword. Like, that's practically the line. It might actually be the line, I didn't see it, but you can do that, and I didn't, because I figured, okay, if he's this gung-ho about it, telling him he's an idiot isn't going to stop him. I was wrong, so oops. Yeah, so I killed that dude and got a few more hours into the game and thought, oh, well, time to start over, is basically my reaction. So I'm going to be starting over and doing that properly, air quotes. But yeah, it's pretty fun. A little bit unforgiving as far as the combat goes. But once you actually figure out how you're supposed to play it, you'd have to be pretty stupid to make the kind of mistakes I was actually making. So,
It's okay, Casey. We all make mistakes sometimes on our first playthrough.
Yep. It doesn't play like a lot of games. I mean, it plays a little bit like Dark Souls, but nowhere near enough where it's like suddenly completely familiar. So, yeah, it was a little odd to get into it, but now that I have, it should be a lot easier to get through the tutorial crap. So, yeah, that was a thing that I did.
So
it was cool.
So you're fine with the game, like, even though it's not as up to date, let's say, as Witcher 3.
It's not as up to date, it's not as polished. The gameplay is a little bit clunky, but the rest of it's perfectly fine. I mean, I like the acting, I like the visuals, I like the sound design. The plot seems interesting. I'm not entirely au fait with the universe, so I'm not quite sure why the elves and dwarves are like seemingly universally evil at this point. I mean, apparently they were like the subjugated people in the previous game. I don't know how or where that transition took place, but that's what it seems like right now. Anyway. But yeah, it's all interesting so far, so I'm probably going to be playing a lot more of this game as the weeks go on. And then I'm probably going to get Witcher 3, because there wasn't much I hated about Witcher 1 when I tried it, aside from the controls and how stupid and incredibly archaic they were. So, yeah, I can enjoy this one. I'll enjoy the next one. It's good stuff. Yay!
Stupendous.
I have new games to play, new RPGs that don't feel like boring, plodding crap, or are written by an 8-year-old.
It's a unicorn! So rare.
I don't get the reference.
Unicorns are rare creatures that are thought to be mythical at this point in time.
Oh, okay. You were just saying it's a rare type of thing. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, the last RPG that I played that was that amazing was Undertale, so, you know. Remember Undertale, guys?
No.
I remember the time when you said, I'm not that bothered about Undertale, there's been too much hype about it.
Yeah, I remember that too. I was a fucking moron.
Undertale really wasn't that good. It was just...
It was pretty fucking good.
It was alright. I don't regret playing it, but I didn't see anything special about it.
It was an RPG. It was a game. I'll go back. It was a game that was written well.
Mm-hmm.
There's been like 6 of those in the past 10 years. So, I don't know. Also, amazing soundtrack. Also, fun characters.
Well.
Yeah, so that was a pretty good game too. I don't think there's much else that I've fucking done this week. I mean, I was still in work this week, and someone who had been sick for 3 months came back for a week and then got a stomach infection, so is now sick again at the worst possible time. So, yeah, had to switch my hours around again. Yay! Thankfully, so far, fingers crossed, it hasn't affected the fact that I'm supposed to be getting a week off next week. Touch wood. And other superstitious mnemonic devices that I don't remember or care about, so will not do.
Hooray.
So...
Pour salt over your shoulder.
Hang on. I can actually do that. Bear with me. 1 second. I'll be back in a second.
Is he really going to get salt?
It's his house. He can throw salt over his shoulder if he wants to.
Oh, I shouldn't have said anything.
But you did. Mistake.
Okay. Hello.
Right.
Hi.
Now go get a hoover and hoover up the salt.
I haven't thrown it yet. I have to go get the salt shaker. My sister got me these for like when I was moving into my flat, and it's like a little dude that's supposed to be punching another dude that's got pepper in him. It's a salt and pepper. Get it? Cause it's the salt and pepper, and they're fighting little statue dudes.
I like it.
Yeah. There we go. Throwing salt over my shoulder. Done. Yay, superstitious crap. It's making my flat dirty. Thanks, guy. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's your house. You can dirty it if you want to.
That's
Your
true.
right
Well,
it's your right as an English citizen.
it's not going to make it any worse than it already was. I need to vacuum. Right, so, yeah, hopefully I still get my week off next week. That'd be nice. There's been nothing but stress for the past couple of weeks, but whatever.
Yeah, tell me about it.
All right, so that's what we've been doing, done. We're done with what we've been doing, so moving on to the next thing. We forgot to roll the randomme last week, but I did roll it afterwards and send an email saying, hey, we should watch this one, because it's
I'm
what came
glad
up.
you did. I wasn't very,
Let's actually say the name of it first. So what rolled up was it's a show called Gokusen, or The Gokusen, which is a show about a mob boss, or an acting mob boss in the Yakuza, who starts a job as a teacher. It's a lady. So that is the basic premise of the anime. She starts a teaching job in a school of delinquents. So Ken, start us off, because you liked it and so did I.
All right, so I just need to say I didn't go into this with the highest of expectations after the last few, but I will have to say this was pretty damn good. I only saw the first episode, and I'm going to watch much more of this. There are 12 episodes up.
13,
whatever, one number. I'm going to be watching them all very soon.
It's pretty good. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. The reason that I enjoyed the first episode so much might have been because of the subtitles. Because, yeah, okay, it doesn't really translate a lot of the terms that they use sometimes, like things that Westerners just wouldn't get. But when it just throws in, like, mafioso saying, like, forget about it, and capiche.
And hitting the mattresses.
I burst out laughing and said, okay, yeah, I'm in for this for the long haul. That's okay. I'm in. Yeah. It's a pretty good show. Guy, you watched this literally 5 minutes ago. Well, 20 minutes ago, fairness, but what do you think?
Yeah, I quite liked it. It was original. It's had good creativity in it. A little bit... there was never a moment when I was unsure what was going to happen next. I think it set up the premise quite well, but it was also a bit. It was the start of an episode, so I'll give it a pass on that one more. To be honest, but it was a good show. Definitely looked promising. I'm not really sure where it's going to go next, but I would be, if I had time, I would watch more episodes. I think.
Well, the thing about it is, it's a very, for anime, which, let's remember what anime is, it's a very over-the-top almost all of the time. It is actually a very low-key show.
Yes, true. You could see it's more, full of its themes with mob boss, so it was like a slice of life thing.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I quite like that about it.
Yeah. I really like the protagonist.
Yeah. No.
It might have been... Okay, third episode. You know the redhead dude? That's, like, suspicious and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, he confronts her and says he does a thing that's like gets the entire class that he's in to abandon the lesson to try and get her into doing something. He wants to challenge her to a fight, and she says okay. And they meet at the riverbank, and she gives him a dressing down about how he shouldn't be such a shithead, and you do not move bodies for your own selfish bullshit. And that alone really got me to like the character. Because it's like, okay, yeah, hardcore, all that shit, but, you know, there's a purpose to it. Like, it's not all about, you know, the one on top giving all the orders for whatever they feel like doing. It gives the impression of, you know, I mean, they call them mob families, right? And that's the idea that they're trying to get across throughout the whole show. So, I very much like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't really judge it. From the first episode, I would say it's probably a 4 out of 5. But it does have the potential to get better. I think it's got enough of the creativity. I would watch more of it, but it wasn't amazingly hooking just from the first episode alone.
I will say 4 out of 5 as well. For it to be a 5, it'd have to be life-changing experience.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed pretty much all of it, and I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, it was pretty great. I'm glad I watched it. Did not think I'd be saying that when that came up on the fucking random number generator.
Neither did I. I was not excited.
It was good. It was good. See, this is the good thing about doing Random. Every now and again, we find a gem that's like worth watching that we never would have looked at otherwise. Good stuff. So, glad about that one. Alright, so we've got to roll another one. So, who wants to get up the random number generator?
Alright, one sec. Random number generator. Let's go.
$27 for the first one. Roll it.
Okie doke. Sure. And we get 17.
14, 15, 16, 17 is P. Uh-oh. Oh, okay.
Pokemon. Right.
Look at all of the Pokemons. Okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I realised.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40,
Oh,
42,
God.
48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, bear with me, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 96, 98, 100, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. We just finished the Pokemon. Do you know when I started? 60. 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 35. 135, and like 50 of them were Pokemon.
All right, well, that's not a majority, so let's do this. 30.
30. Okay, it's not a Pokemon one. Fair enough. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. It was 30, right? Yeah, okay. Persona 4, the Golden Animation.
Oh.
I'm not going to say it's a sequel, but it's kind of a sequel. So, that being the case, I think Persona 4, the animation, would be the thing we would actually need to watch. I think that's the rule that we made, right?
Yeah. The sequel, you have to watch the first thing.
Yeah, because the Golden Animation was basically bits and pieces from the original show, but with the new content added in Persona 4 Golden. So it had kind of started where you'd be expected to know some stuff. So, what the fuck? There was a Persona 4 film?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Huh. Okay, so there's Persona 4 the animation, and then there's the film that basically does the whole thing in 90 minutes. Interesting. I didn't know they'd done that, but whatever. So I guess the random A is going to be Persona 4 the animation. 1, 2, 3. At least 3 of us have already watched this, so, at least we can talk about it no matter what. Yay.
Hooray.
Yeah, I've never had anything to do with any of the Persona stuff. So.
Well, it does explain everything as it goes along, so don't worry about it.
Alright.
Yeah, it's like Final Fantasy. They don't just... It's not continuing from 3 to 4. It's just 4. And stands on its own, so... And it explains everything, so it's fine. Right, so we'll be talking about that next week. I think we actually talked about it on the podcast at one point, because it came out after the podcast started. October 2013.
Oh, yeah, I remember that conversation.
It did. It absolutely did. Oh my god. Okay. Fair enough. So we're talking about Persona 4, the animation. Again. Fair enough. God damn it, random A.
It's either that or a Pokemon.
Yeah, well, it came up and we've already seen it. We kind of set the precedent with Utuwari Mono that if we've already seen something of it, then we just do it anyway. So, whatever. Okay, so that's that set up. So if you want to watch the first episode of that or have already done so, feel free to comment and say what you think about it. Yeah. Yay. See, I say I've already seen it. I should probably watch it again just to remind myself what's actually in that one. All right. So, first topic this week. We're only doing 2 and the question because there's 3 of us. Fuck it. So, first topic is blue and orange morality. This is when the standard scale of black and white or black through gray through white does not apply to the creature that is being shown. They do not have the same in any way the same values that we have. So murder might be entirely justified all of the time, and it's certain aspects of other stuff that would define whether it's okay or not. I'm trying to think of a blue and orange morality kind of thing. Okay, let's say chaos and order, I suppose, could be considered that to an extent.
How about the Reapers from Mass Effect? They would fit the description.
I suppose they would, yes. Yeah, they were kind of their own morality and defined their own morality. So, yeah, they did not care in the slightest about preserving life or anything. In fact, it was anathema to them, was preserving life, because it would bring about the heat death of the universe or something like that.
Oh, massive.
Trying to stop the synthetics or something like that, yeah.
That was the Mass Effect 3 reasoning. I prefer when they had like more vague and non-specific reasoning in Mass Effect 1, but that's just me when I liked games with good writing.
I actually quite like the reason given for the Reapers. The way I've always thought about it is they were essentially a machine that they was just following their programming. They were very intelligent, but also very, very stupid at the same time.
Yeah, but that's not an AI.
Well, no, that's totally what an AI is. It's still got the core programming in it. It's trying to... there's nothing it can do about it. It just follows the loop.
The thing about being sapient, which is the entire difference between what a VI and an AI is in that game, by the way, is that a sapient can overcome their quote-unquote programming or their instincts or what have you. They can overcome that for whatever reason they might have to overcome it. And the Reapers apparently can't, which means they are not sapient and are therefore not an AI, which means them being able to turn the Geth into AIs is bullshit.
I think this is going off topic a bit.
A little
Yeah.
bit, but, you know, I paid attention. I read the fucking codex for Mass Effect 1. I know all this shit. So Mass Effect 3 was kind of a slap in the face. Just saying. Anyway, so blue and orange morality. That's the thing. Okay. I would like to say that. Okay, hear me out on this one. The light side and the dark side.
No, definitely.
On the face of it, they seem like, yeah, good versus evil. But if you actually get into it, like a lot of the stuff that is dark side is like feeling passion of any kind. Like the light side bans like romantic relationships because love is a form of passion, which leads to the dark side. So in that sense, it is peace and serenity of the self for the light side, and passion, basically, for the dark side, are the driving forces of those moralities, more than anything else.
So, yeah, you're essentially saying the core values of the dark side aren't inherently evil.
It's not just kill, rape, murder. I mean, those are, you know, outcomes of very, very passionate people sometimes, but, you know, that is not the reason that they exist. They are not inherently evil to that sense.
Well, I always interpret that as it's more of how it is applied. The force is when it's fundamentally unstable in that sense. You can't, where people who are talented with the force, that's the way it will overcome you. Either feel nothing, because if you feel anything at all, it just goes mad. If you get what I mean.
Which, by that token, would imply that the force itself is kind of evil.
Well, I wouldn't say evil. It's just unstable. But yeah, that's getting into blue and orange morality.
I love this concept. I just like to say I love this concept because if a writer can really pull this off, the idea of blue and orange morality, a morality system that is completely different from ours and is barely even fathomable to our understanding of what right and wrong is, then that it's just something that is very difficult to grasp, that allows the reader to try and see things from a perspective that they would never even need to consider until that point.
Well, it does.
I mean, it's not really going to benefit them in day-to-day life of like, oh, I wonder what was the fucking Cthulhu would think about this fucking situation. Doesn't matter, but it's interesting to think about.
Well, that's one into it. Doesn't always have to be so extreme, though.
It doesn't, no.
Yeah, it's more a case of just somebody who doesn't care, essentially, could be called blue and...
That's not really a different values for morality. That's more not having any moral values. That's a different thing.
What I'm trying to say is, like, you could argue that anybody who doesn't fit into the standard, yes, this is all good, and yeah, this is all good, has their own version of blue and orange morality. It's not an extreme thing. You could say it happens to everyone. Anybody who isn't the typical good and evil, who has, if there's an evil person who occasionally does good just for reasons, yeah, that's all just part of being a well-rounded person.
Ken, any thoughts on this?
I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, like I don't know. I mean, I always figured it was just like whenever I think of this kind of topic, it's not quite, oh, this person isn't good or evil or anything. It's more like the person or character has their own set of rules that don't really revolve around morality. It's just stuff they do and they adhere to no matter what, whether the result is positive or negative for whoever is on the receiving end of it. Like, when I think of blue and orange morality, and this is a terrible example to some people, but I'm going to go ahead and throw Kuretsuchi from Bleach in there.
Okay.
Surface, he's a pretty evil dude, but he doesn't do what he does for the sake of, hurting people. That's just what happens most of the time because it's the most effective way to get what he wants, which is results. He wants to experiment with stuff. He wants to improve on things. That's basically all he does. That's his reason for existing. And
yeah, he pursues that over anything else, over any other concerns, more or less.
So
I mean, the reason he probably plays nice is mostly because it would be a net loss if he didn't, as far as pursuing his ambitions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind that one.
He'll kill all the Quinties to experiment on them, and then he'll heal Ryu because whatever.
Because he already got all the results he wanted from studying Quincy's. There's no point in killing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the thing is, the most basic tenet of black and white morality is the basic instincts of a society is that if someone does something to hurt a society as a whole, whether that be hurting a single person for no adequate reason, then they are, on the darker side of morality, as far as basic black and white morality is concerned. That is the basic, very, very basic. So, don't call me a psychology major or anything like that. But that is basically the cornerstone of human society. So a blue and orange morality value system would be something that doesn't have anything to do with that. Society as a whole doesn't matter. Like, communities of people don't matter, as far as that's concerned.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a matter. They don't matter. It's more. I'm not sure how to describe it actually.
It's
not the most important thing. So it is on a lower level than it would be for a vast majority of people.
I mean, I say on that one, it's really dependent on the motivations of whatever particular person you're thinking about. Like, the community can be the most important thing, but that community is the most important thing, as in everything else can go fuck itself. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure this community is strong and safe, even if I have to, steal little kids from another community and experiment on them or some other fucked up shit. Doesn't matter.
That's an example.
I just thought I was trying to think of the darkest example I could without being too dark.
That's a pretty dark example.
Yeah, that would definitely be.
Oh, this is a weird topic to ever discuss. It'll take some thinking to actually do for the...
Well, when it comes to writing characters like this, I would say, yes, it's a good thing to do, but at the same time, it's also something you go invest in. Because otherwise the readers will see a character which you might have perfect understanding of, and they'll think, oh, that's a weird character, that doesn't make sense. Because readers, when somebody's reading it, they like things to make sense. Anything that's you've got more detail in, but they can't see the details straight away, that flags up as an error in their mind, when it's not really an error. It's just something that's.
It's worthwhile to give this character a moment in the spotlight so that they can either you can show their perspective on what's going on and what they're trying to do, or you could have them exposit in a conversation what their viewpoint is and what they're trying to do, something to explain to the audience so they can understand this person does not have the same set of values that most people do.
In my experience, I would say that readers have a very low tolerance for different complex viewpoints. It's not... If you put too many on it, you really damage the story because they can't keep up. So...
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good thing, but...
It's an outlying perspective, but in that sense, it should be an outlying perspective, as in most characters will have a more or less regular viewpoint, and then there will be this character or these characters, whether it's a group or just one, and they will be the different ones. And try not to overcomplicate it beyond that.
Yeah, that's pretty good rule of thumb, I would say. Always exceptions, of course, depending on how you want to write it.
Naturally.
But it's just awkward thing a lot of the times.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth mentioning that a lot of the stuff we talk about and things we suggest, they are guidelines more than anything else. I mean, they say, for writers, they say you learn the rules of the English language so you know when to ignore them, kind of thing. So, similar kind of thing applies here. We're giving advice on what we've seen, how it can work, how it doesn't work. If you want to try a way that we've said doesn't work or you'll have problems with, go ahead, more power to you, because if you can pull it off, you'll have done something very interesting. But you're going to have a harder time with it, is all we're saying. So
be patient.
Okay. So the next topic. Are we moving on to the next topic?
I think we got a good bit of mileage out of that one.
Okay.
Wow, that was a good segue into this next topic. These flow together so well. I mean, wow, right?
It would flow there exactly the same way if we were split it up into sections. That's not really what you would...
Well, no. If we were to split it up, then it'd be separate videos. We'd have a video that is us talking about blue and orange morality, and ideally we'd have more than 3 people. But still, and then we'd have a video talking about the destined bystander, which is our next topic. Okay, so that flowed together a little bit better because we got a segue in there.
Wow, you're the king of segues, aren't you?
I think that's like the first time in like 50 episodes we've actually bothered. So, just saying. But
I don't think it's worth bothering about.
Yeah. So, next topic is the destined bystander. This is... Okay, there are a lot of characters in this story. Let's not make too many more characters. We need a new villain. Okay, this guy's been in the story for a long time and not really done anything. He's a villain now. So this is basically... It's almost like a subset of conservation of detail. You have a certain number of characters and you want to make a new main character, protagonist, antagonist, and you ascend someone who is a minor character to the role of a major character.
Well, I would say sometimes it can be good. It's not always a bad thing because it gets develop this character a bit more. Yes, he was always in the background. Nobody ever cared about him, but maybe that was just because the main characters were all too focused, were too self-obsessed. But this guy had his own personal troubles going on, and nobody cared. In that sense, it could round out a story quite well. So if it's done well, then yes, this isn't always a terrible thing.
I mean,
but then on the flip side of that, you've got it. If you overuse this, it comes up to a state where, there's only 3 people in this school, and they're all important. Sorry.
I mean, there is a part of this that is really important to... The character has been in the story for a long time. In that sense, that character will actually bring more dramatic meat to the role of being promoted to a major character than just introducing an entirely new character out of nowhere.
Yeah,
There'll be something to work with right from the start, is what I'm saying. Okay.
I like the idea of promoting characters that like that. There's already a history there, so people are familiar with them. You don't have to go into too much time. You don't have to take too much time explaining later on down the line where this person comes from or anything like that, or what their motivations will be. Because if you did a good job fleshing them out before you know, move them up to whatever you're going to do next, that stuff would be mostly there already.
The problem with that, then you get eventually into a situation where pretty much everyone that Peter Parker went to school with is either a hero or a villain. There are no
that
regulars.
was the example on the TV tropes page, by the way, the Spider-Man thing. Yeah, just wanted to point that out. Sorry, go on, Guy.
There's absolutely no regular Joes in the class because everybody has a destiny. It's just been overused to that extreme. But, so, yeah, be careful with it. It's good, but only if you can actually bring something meaningful as this character as a villain, or giving this character a larger role. Otherwise, as supporting characters, you need supporting characters in the story.
That's a good point. I mean,
don't get rid of all your supporting
characters. Don't waste all of the supporting characters just because you need someone new. If you haven't got many supporting characters left, then probably maybe just bring in someone new. You don't always want to bring in someone that's got some history in the story. There's nothing wrong in itself with bringing in someone entirely new to the story. Sometimes that's what you need, but you know, I hate that I keep bringing this back, but it's a question of overuse. Like, at some point, you've used up all of the characters that are already in the story and need to bring in someone new.
Depends on the story.
I mean, yeah, because most stories... Go ahead.
I'm just saying, if in a really good story, you've got interesting characters and they will clash with each other regularly. And so they clash in different ways. They learn, they develop. The characters grow like that, and that's a really good story, actually, because things are developing, and the readers will keep on reading how these characters are going to clash in the future. And that's the premise of every soap in existence, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I fear that this might be the point that Kenshi was about to make, but the thing about most stories is that most stories end.
Yeah, that's what I was going to...
Okay, go on, Ken. I'll let you take it then.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need, like, the problem, you don't really need to... stories that end, you don't really need to bring in more people, because by the time your story really gets in the swing, there should be enough already. It shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. But for things like the Spider-Man example, yeah, you would have to, you'd have to bring in more people because...
Yeah, that's a comic, that's a franchise. It's lasted for decades. It's going to last for decades more.
You gotta bring someone in new at some point. Spider-Man can't just, Flash can't heal face turn like 30 times. You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean...
He already has, to be honest.
I'm aware of this. It was an example.
If you're getting to the point where you're running out of supporting characters to promote, then you're either writing a comic book or a soap. So, either way, writing quality doesn't necessarily have to be that good anyway, so don't worry about it, I guess.
So what about in fan fiction then? Because this is something, when I think about it, it sounds like something that would occur regularly, but I haven't really seen many examples of it. Taking a character and just making them more important.
That happens quite a bit. I mean... with your Ensemble Dark Horse characters that get a little bit more screen time in, your shows like Shikamaru, or I don't know who an Ensemble Dark Horse is in Bleach, or I don't fucking know. Anyway, you get your Ensemble Dark Horse character that gets a bit more screen time as the show goes on, but, they don't get much. They're still not the main character. So in fan fiction, you get a lot of these characters that are really popular just getting, they're put center screen. They are damn near the main character, if not they're the main character. And you see that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, there is a lot of dramatic meat to bring to that character if they're promoted to a main role, because they have a character. It's already all set up and it's all good to go.
Yeah, in that sense, in a fan fiction sense, writing a story like that so you can explore a different element or a character that never got screen time in canon, that's good. I would support that, actually. Doing something different. But just don't... it gets... In fan fiction, it's probably better than in any other form of writing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I read a very... Well, I don't know whether it's very good, but it was... At the time when I read it, which was years ago, it was a good story. It was a Code Geass fic called Lelouch of Britannia, I think. And it was basically... Lelouch doesn't get banished from Britannia and joins the military, basically. And from that point on, for quite a while, it's a war fic. And he basically serves with some of the minor antagonists from the early episodes, and they get really fleshed out in ways that are probably not canon, but they get fleshed out quite a bit, and it's pretty good and engaging, and it brings a lot more character to characters we're familiar with. Gives them a lot more depth, and it's a very worthwhile read in that sense.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the best parts of fan fiction, that you can do that. So yeah, actually, I would support this more in fan fiction than any other type of writing.
Yeah. I mean, you want to tell the untold story of fucking, I don't know, the 15th Green Goblin, then you're fucking welcome to, but they've already done it in the comics, I don't doubt. Anything else to say about the Destined Bystander?
Looking that covers it.
Take that massive silence, well, not silence, but fucking mic fluff feedback as a no. Okay,
Get
so...
some feedback from? Is it me?
No idea. Everyone probably.
Yeah.
God knows. I've been eating cream eggs while we've been recording, by the way, so that's why I'm hiccuping. Alright, question we got from Sleeping Meerkat. How do you write a main character with a deadly disease? Question, what kind of deadly disease? Because that matters.
Well, I think he was meaning more where there's a looming threat over the head and the character's going on his hero journey. What happens? Do you ever get that looming threat as the premise of a story? Or... I think that was how I interpret his question anyways.
Do you have the page up still?
Can get it up easy enough.
If you would, please. Because I've forgotten the wording of it.
Oh, yes, got it. Let's have a look. Question, how do you write a main character with a deadly disease? Would you let the main character complete their objective and then kill them off screen, or have them die at some point during the narrative and then let other characters complete the objective without the project?
That's absolutely subjective. Those are two different stories, and both of them are equally viable.
Mm-hmm. Let's think about this. This podcast would be a lot better if we had these topics in advance and we could actually make up a valid opinion on it beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like something we could do if we were to separate everything.
No, you don't need to separate it to do it. You can do it at any time. It's just better planning.
Shut up, guy.
I told you.
Okay. So yeah, either of those are viable stories. I mean, it doesn't... Writing someone with a deadly disease, yeah, they could die in the middle of the story, and you could have a tragic death scene, and then everyone is so inspired that they keep going on and complete the objective without them and do it in their honor and such things. Or you could have the character survive through the whole thing and then die afterwards, happy and content that they completed their objective and feeling satisfied. They're all stories. I mean, there's a lot you can do with someone that has a deadly illness.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. There's a story. I can't think of the specific example, but I know it's something like this, where the character, he's got a disease, and that's his reason for going on the hero's quest. It's something. It's what gives him his motivation. That's his backstory, essentially, that he's got this disease. So then, what happens with that? Do you ever get to? And he goes on lots of countless adventures, blah 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 blah, hero's journey and all that. Lots of character development, but do you ever get to the point where you say, yep, this disease has gone on too long enough, it's time for this character to die?
It's as long as you want. It goes first.
It's as long as it needs to be. That's just how it works. That's where dramatic license comes in. Like, oh, this person has cancer, he only has 6 months to live, and then he lives for another 2 years, and it's like, it's a miracle, and then he dies 3 months later. A deadly disease is deadly, but it can last for as long as the writer needs it to. And there's, drama that you can milk from that if you feel the inclination. I'm not a particular fan of that, but, it's something that you can absolutely do. Okay.
What?
Anything else to say to answer the question?
I think that covers it.
Okay. So all we got left is recommendations. Does anyone have one that isn't
I'm pretty
Kenshi?
sure we've missed something, actually, but wasn't there another...
No, we did 2 topics in the question.
I thought there was another question from last week, okay.
There was, but it's more of a topic, which I put in the topic list, the spare topic list.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Okay. Kenshi, what's your recommendation? Because no one else has one.
Okay, my recommendation is called Fallout 3 Modus Operandi by Commando Cucumber. Basically, this is after the main story of Fallout 3. And the Lone Wanderer is pretty much, Lone Wanderer is pretty much... The guy who writes this pretty much goes off the premise that at the end of the game, Lone Wanderer is basically as godlike as you can get in the Capital Wasteland.
Makes sense.
So the conflicts in this story aren't particularly about battle, about combat. Basically, the conflict is the Capital Wasteland pretty much sees the Lone Wanderer as some kind of messiah. He's like the most important single person. He's what Three Dog wanted him to be. He's an ideal at this point.
Yeah. At the end of the game, they basically are anyway. So
he's the one who can handle anything, go anywhere, do whatever needs to be done, and no one really needs to worry because if Lone Wanderer's on it, it's fine. It's not like he's human or anything, right? He's God at this point. So that doesn't really leave a lot of room for, social interaction. And mentally, this is a very broken man. So Sarah Lyons realizes this during a run-in with him, where she ends up staying with him for a mission. The mission ends up being something done in the aftermath of the Pit DLC, which was a very... the thing this guy does, the Commando Cucumber, is he takes what was already set down in the stories that we already know from Fallout 3, and he makes consequences for a lot of the shit you wind up doing.
Right. So I can already kind of guess what would the whole thing with the pit. I remember that with the Fallout 3 fic that you mentioned. Wanderer's Diary?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And his response to the whole pit thing was basically to kill everyone because everyone was an evil motherfucker. And steal the baby.
Yeah, I remember that. I still love that story, by the way.
Yeah, it's still good.
So I highly recommend the story, and he did sequel. He did a sequel to it.
He did 2 sequels.
Yeah, 2. And they're all really fucking good. The third one's still going on. He hasn't updated since June of 2015, but that's still a lot of content for you to go through, and it's really good. I'd give it a look. I like this guy's style. It's not there's some technically as far as writing in there. There's a few errors in places, but it's not enough to suck you out of it at all.
Okay.
So yeah, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this work. It's a pretty good writer, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure everyone will enjoy it.
Fair play. Okay, I was in the middle of looking for ones, and then I stopped doing that for some reason. Wow, thanks, fucking Capture, for not appearing. Thank you. There we go. Okay, have I got anything in my alerts for me to actually recommend? Probably not. Let's check those out. Let's see what we got here. Nope, no we do not. Okay. I apparently need to pick up some reading at some point. Oh well. Alright, so I guess that's it for this week. Already done the Patreon thing. Should probably send that out at some point. Alright, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the Fandom Flux Podcast episode 124. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so through the YouTube channel, through the comments. We're not fully decided on whether we're going to split everything up or not. I mean, 2 people didn't show up this week, so we should probably talk about it with them first.
The big decision.
Kind of seems like a thing we should do. So please donate on Patreon if you feel so inclined. What I was going for there was basically saying, hey, if you have an opinion on the whole splitting up the show and moving the writing topics to something else, you should probably say in the comments what you think about that, because, you know, it's kind of important. We got some people on one side and some people on the other, so let us know what you think. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the Fandom Flux Podcast episode 124. Bye now.
Bye.